This is Damon Dash, and this is the Dash Diabetes Network. I might not be a doctor, but I'm definitely in a doctor's state of mind. So, I think it's important that people understand the reality of what a diabetic is and what it means on a day-to-day. I've tried to live a normal life, and I've never been able to get it under control. And when I was introduced to this Afrezza, number one, the thought of not having to use a needle all day is always a great thought, but being in control, it was just like a dream. And when I first started to use the Afrezza, Anthony, and I want to introduce Anthony, immediately started to text me, and he immediately started to give me an awareness on how to manage the insulin, and relatively fast, I got where I needed to go. And I thought it was important that we understood his story. So I want to introduce Anthony, and I want you to explain yourself. I mean, tell everybody who you are.
Well, this was back to 1983 when I was first diagnosed. I was 13 years old, so it kind of dates me right now. But I had the classic signs and symptoms. I wasn't feeling well. I had lost a lot of weight. Clothes weren't fitting me. They were falling right off. I was waking up, going to the bathroom probably 10 times throughout the night.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Wetting my bed, which is super embarrassing, but I mean, I couldn't control it. I drink a 2-liter thing of soda, water, juice,
You're
whatever.
Crazy thirsty, right?
Right, like you were dying of thirst.
But never hungry.
But never hungry. And then on the flip side, you're going to the bathroom every 5 minutes, just constantly.
Yeah.
And then the weight just rolled right off you. I lost 29 pounds within.
I lost 40.
Really, like within a week, I think it was.
It was like a month for me.
Yeah.
Were you feeling groggy?
I was. It just felt horrible. I wanted to sleep all day, but again, as a kid, you just wanted to be outside. So I was out riding my bike with some friends, and I kept saying, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. And sure enough, by the end of the ride, end of the day, I pulled over to the side and I got sick all over the place. I mean, just
threw up?
Threw up, yeah. And something was wrong. I mean, it wasn't like, you can tell if you got a flu, you have a fever. I didn't have that. I felt nauseous. I felt sick. I got on my bike, rolled to my father's office, and what I remember was just hopping off my bike, laying down on this floor, curling up in a ball, and that was it for me. I was in DKA. I don't know what my blood sugar was at that point. I don't really remember. That was a long time ago. But I remember my parents telling me that. My mom called the doctor and started explaining some of the signs and symptoms, that were happening. And I was fortunate. I was fortunate that I had a doctor that didn't just say, it's a flu, call me tomorrow, because you hear a lot of horror stories now where, kids have the same signs and symptoms. Doctors think it's a flu, give it a couple of days, and by that time the kid's in DKA, having other complications, passing away from elevated blood sugars. So I was fortunate. My doctor did a test, and I was admitted in the hospital for 5 days.
What was your first method of juggling your diabetes?
I think the first insulins I started taking were purified pork. So they're pork insulins that I was taking.
Supposed to be the best insulin.
So yeah, so I started off on that.
The old school needle, the syringe?
It was an old school syringe.
Yeah.
It wasn't the glass syringes. These were the disposable ones at that time.
Right.
But they were still pretty big needles.
Right.
And for a 13-year-old, having to inject themselves for the first time, that needle was a monster. And I remember my very first injection. I had lost 29 pounds. I was tan because it was summer, so my skin was like leather. And I went to go stick myself in the leg, and the needle didn't go in. Like it was kind of like a screwdriver trying to get in there. And the doctor looked down at me and said, don't worry, kid, in 5 years you're gonna have an inhaled insulin. That was 34 years ago.
Yeah, I remember hearing something about that back then. That was always a dream.
The information just wasn't available back then. So juggling it, I didn't know what I was doing. I was giving myself 2 injections a day, mixing the cloudy and the clear.
Did that.
And then the R and the NPH.
Did that.
My story was that I wasn't the most compliant diabetic. I was on autopilot or diabetes burnout, where I cared because I still took my injections, but I didn't test my blood sugar for 20 years.
Yeah, I didn't test my blood sugar for a while either.
Right. I had no idea where I was at. I was taking the same N and R. I would gradually through the years just keep increasing just because I thought I knew what I was doing. And I would give myself a few extra units here and there, start bumping those up. 20 plus years I didn't go to a doctor. 20 plus years I didn't test my blood sugar. Didn't have my A1C tested. I had no idea where I was at.
So what made you decide to start to take care of your business?
I finally just woke up one day and I was about to hop in a shower and I saw some discoloration on my, like around my ankle. And I noticed that, you know, it had been kind of there. I thought maybe, you know, I was athletic and doing sports and stuff. Maybe I'd turned my ankle and, you know, it was just a bruise. But then I noticed it kept going up to like my calf.
Oh, you let it get to that?
And that was an eye-opening experience.
You let it get to that?
Yeah.
Whew.
I let it get to that because
I was tripping.
I had no idea what it was, and it scared the crap out of me because, of course, you know, everyone you talk to about complications and having aunts and grandmas and uncles that have diabetes, you know, have lost their toes, lost their legs, and that scared the crap out of me.
So what happened?
I went to Target. I bought a meter because I hadn't tested in 20 plus years, and I started testing myself 20, 24 times a day.
But did you go see why your leg was green?
I did. It wasn't green. It was something else. It wasn't diabetes related.
Oh, it wasn't. But
so
that scared
right. So and knock on wood. I don't know how.
Did it turn into a leprechaun or something?
It wasn't green. It was like black. It was bruised. But yeah. But I mean, thankfully it wasn't diabetes related. I mean,
Right.
I don't have any of the complications, and I don't know how, for the life of me, of living such a horrible diabetes management life for 20 plus years, that I escaped that.
I mean, if you put insulin in your body for at least a little bit, it does fight a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like I haven't seen anybody that's tried to take care of it go through so much. It's always really extreme when I see complications. And again, that could be me just looking at it at a better lens or looking at it positive. But it does seem that if you completely ignore it, things are going to go down quick. If you want to learn more about being a diabetic and being cool while you're diabetic and the lifestyle of a diabetic, check out the Dash Diabetes Network. Holla back.
I'm amazed. I didn't know anything like this existed.
I like it.
I like this idea.
We showed people with diabetes something they'd never seen before. Inhaled insulin.
It's inhaled. Now I would consider this.
I could inhale it.
And you said you inhale it?
It's neat. It's really neat.
I like the design. It's very fascinating.
I don't know. I don't have the right words for this. I'm going to talk to my doctor. I'm going to find out if this is something that's for me. And if it is, we're going to make some changes.
Insulin you inhale. Ask your doctor if Afrezza is right for you. Go to Afrezza.com to learn more.